Hey, welcome everybody to Nightcap Knowledge. I am one of your co-hosts, Mr. Mac. DJ George Chuck is out there, man, working with them young brothers of his, those young boys, those Pattersons. Uh, so we want to make sure we give a shout out to DJ George Chuck and the crew. We are here for another episode of Nightcap Knowledge. This show is rated Black and Uncensored, real talk, real issues, real solutions. We're gonna tell it like a TI is. We're gonna dive right into this thing. It's Tuesday, but it's been a long week already. That's crazy, ain't it? So we got a we got one of our returning guests. She should be almost filling in like once a month, dropping this knowledge on us. Uh, we have Miss Michelle right here. But we just want to talk about a lot of good things that are happening. Hemp World just celebrated 1 year anniversary. It's been a lot of work, a lot of work. We're going to talk about the importance about knowing about your credit, business, but running a business, doing a startup, getting it off the ground. That's a lot of hard work. So we definitely want to thank everybody that came out and supported us from the grand opening to the 1 year anniversary. So we're gonna keep pushing, keep moving, keep doing what we got to do. Continue to move Mississippi forward. All gas, no brakes. That's what we're gonna do. So like I told you, with the groove with DJ George Chuck, he's out with the boys. They probably somewhere on the baseball field or just getting in the house. Um, but so we always do what we can for the children. So getting to that time in about 2 weeks, I will have a high school graduate. I'll be joining Miss Michelle. She already has a high school graduate, so it's a lot of work trying to make sure they get to where they need to get to. So Michelle is one of the reasons that we're doing our event tomorrow. Our financial literacy workshop will take place tomorrow at Hemp World South Therapeutic Lounge, 4270 Robinson Road. It will start at 7 p.m. So one of the motivations to create this kind of quickly organized financial literacy workshop is for the youth, is for my daughter, is for some other younger folks that just got to college or about to graduate from high school, and for us as parents to be there because now the children are at an age where they can make mistakes and we had to pay for them, you know. And what was that mistake that I made freshman year? I got a credit card without having the knowledge and understanding on how credit cards work. And that $500 limit cost me $2,600. So we want to make sure they have proper knowledge and understanding. So, Michelle, introduce yourself. Talk to us.
Hello, my name is Michelle Way. I'm a credit coach. So Matt kind of gave you an idea of what I do. Mac, there's an echo.
And it's probably me. I'm going to mute out. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm different from a credit repair person. I actually look at what the bank is looking at when it comes to your credit, not necessarily credit score, because credit score only pays a small portion. So what I do is I break down how the banks actually look at your credit. And so when people come to me and they say, well, Michelle, my credit score is 785 and I'm not getting approved, it's because you are looking at credit score and they're looking at credit worthiness. Any application you look at has the words credit worthiness. And so what I do is I come in and I say, this right here is what this particular bank is going to require for you to be credit worthy. Trustmark may require something totally different from Bank Plus. Bank Plus may require something different from Regions. Regions may require something totally different from Wells Fargo. So that's the reason why people say, well, I got denied at Wells Fargo, but I went to Regions, I got approved. You got approved because they require two different things. So when you're focusing on your credit, you got to focus on where you're going with your credit. We can use all these different banks, but if you're from Mississippi and you're starting out, don't start out going to Wells Fargo. You're not going to match that person. You're going to need to start out going to a bank like Citizens Bank that is based out of Mississippi. Citizens Bank has an account to help you build your credit profile, right? And Citizens Bank will give you more because they're so used to people with the same profile. So what I do is come in and say, look, you've never had credit before. You're 35 years old. Let's look at starting a profile that makes sense. So in the next 6 to 9 months, you can get approved. And that's the difference from what you hear when people say, well, I just need to get this stuff off my credit. Getting things removed from your credit doesn't really help you like you think, because there's so many other consumer reporting companies out there that actually store that information. And before you know it, you're constantly getting denied with this whole idea of this 785 credit score. So what I do is I come in and I say, look, you're going to Bank Plus. Let's look at what Bank Plus is going to require. I'm going to know that Bank Plus may want you to have a primary credit card that's 2 years old. Well, if that's the case and you're 18 months, you're going to get denied. So your 827 credit score is still going to get denied because you don't have one of the minimal requirements that their system requires, and that's 2 years. So I'm going to say, hey, let's wait 6 months. Let's wait till you get to 24 months. And on that 24th month, then we'll apply because everything else looks good for Bank Plus. But you say, well, I need it now, Michelle, I need it now. Okay, cool. I know for a fact the Citizens is not going to require but 12 months. And you got 18. So let's go to Citizens because they're only going to require 12 months. So those are the different things I do when it comes to credit, Max. So go ahead and ask me some questions.
So let's talk about some of the myths, right? So we know back in the day when a lot of stuff was handwritten inside, they said, "Well, I got a relationship. I've been with them a long time." How much weight does it carry that you actually have money in that bank? Like you say, I might have money in Bank Plus, but I don't meet the requirements. But Citizens, I don't have money there, but I meet the requirements. How much weight does that carry? Let the people know.
Transfer that money to Citizens. Simple. We have loyalty to people that don't have loyalty to us. Why would I constantly keep giving you guys my money that you can take and put in an insurance policy and make money off of when you don't benefit me and you don't benefit my community? We have a loyalty to stupidity. If I'm over here and Bank Plus is giving me denial after denial after denial, but I've got $60,000 in Bank Plus, and I go over here and I open an account with Citizens, and I don't even have an account with Citizens, but I get approved for a car loan with Citizens. Why am I letting Bank Plus make money off of me? That's crazy. I'm going to take my account, drop that joker down to $150, go on over to Citizens where they treat me like I'm somebody, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to really start getting. But we have this, oh, well, my mama banked at Bank Plus, and my grandma banked at Bank
It,
Plus, and my uncle, they all bank with Bank Plus. What do they have?
and we just using these are examples.
Yes,
We not talking
these are
about
just
any particular
examples.
bank.
No
So we
particular
don't
bank. No, this
no
is
particular bank.
Trustmark. This is Wells Fargo. This is wherever you bank at. If you can't get anything out of the institution that you're with, why are you with that institution?
So people understand that yeah, you might have been there with them, but they can't give you what you need.
And they're
And
not
knowing
educated.
that,
Let me stop it right there.
go ahead, go ahead.
They're not. You've been with this bank for 27 years and you live in a community that the bank is in. But this bank has done absolutely nothing to educate the people in that community. Why? Because banks make money off of our ignorance. They cannot make money off 0%. They can't make money off a 1% car loan, but they can at 28.99. So why would it benefit the bank to educate you about credit? And let's just take Mackinac, Tougaloo College. About what? Right before COVID, Mac, right? Mac and I are going to Tougaloo and start educating people. All of a sudden, Trustmark, and I'll call their name out specifically, wanted to go to Tougaloo after all these years. Tougaloo's been sitting there and start educating people, and then COVID happened. Why would that be? Because if I can educate you in a way that I can make money off you, that keeps me in business.
Yeah, and that's and here's the smart thing about those banks. If you say, hey, we know that for a fact, but the better if you properly educate people and you got more of that recognition and more people referencing you, you still win. You know what I'm saying? You might not get the things that you're looking for, but you still win because now you got more people putting money in their account. Um, it's just like and this might be just me, But like one bank that closed, and I was like, it's because of the community. And I said the reason they closed because it's an older retired community. Nobody was buying houses. All the houses are paid for, right? And they're not taking out any loans. They are retired. They get their money come to their account. They spend their money. That's it. So it's not that it was an impoverished community, and not that the people didn't have a knowledge of banking. It was that this community here, no, they're not going to get a $100,000 loan because they 70 or 65 and up, and they're not going to take out a small loan for 10 to 15,000. They're not going to do that because they save their money and they manage their money differently. So you see those things, but then you see other things pop up. And the reason this is very important because um, for those who got high school graduates and those who got children in college or fresh out of college, these decisions are going to be something that they're going to make. And a lot of times we might not know. So we're going to have to try to show them and learn at the same time to help them when they start getting out on their own. Like, hey, this is what you look for. This is how you find the bank that you need, based on what your need is. When you get ready to move, if you here and you working and you got a credit score here, but you say, I got a job offer in Vermont. I ain't never been to Vermont before, and you got a 640 credit score, you're gonna be living in your truck. I'm just gonna put it like that. So that knowledge is very, very important because again, they are going to be grown enough to make a mess that they might not be able to fix because they don't have the knowledge. And we just talking about credit right now. We ain't talking about budgeting, about
Mm-hmm.
opening accounts. We ain't even got that far. That's the stuff we're gonna get into tomorrow. Um, but what, as a mother with a son that's plus 20 plus, and you have been grooming him for years, what advice would you give parents that have children that are about to get ready to go off to college?
Every parent that's getting ready to have a child go to college needs to book a consultation as a gift to their kid. I'll give y'all a scenario, and you can actually, he has a video of me online, um, but I won't call names, I never do. But anyway, his son, when he got ready to go off to college, he paid me to get his son's credit where it needed to be. His credit was like 800, right? And he's 18 years old. Well, his dad stayed on him about making sure his bills are paid on time. His dad pays me once a month. He comes in the office. He pays me $175 an hour to coach him. And I shouldn't have even said that because now you probably go by, I'll delete it. But anyway, long story short, the parent, the mom went out and opened a credit card and didn't make the first payment on the card. So at 21 years old, recently he has a late payment on his credit report. Because even at 18 and now he's 21, he's been educated for the last 3 years about credit, but his mom isn't educated. So the fact that she didn't, her thing was, well, I'll go get this Saks Fifth Avenue credit card. This this young man has Discover, American Express, good credit cards on his credit report that are his primary credit cards. I mean, those are strictly in his name. And she goes out and gets a Saks Fifth Avenue credit card, maxes it out, and only make the first payment. So I can't just make that suggestion for just the students because unlike him, he was educated about credit, right? He knows to keep his balances low. He knew all this. And when we actually pulled the bill and I showed him, hey, she opened this in October. The payment was due in November. She didn't make it. Well, he caught it in January and paid $250. He can't go back and backtrack that late payment. Why? Because he's going to have to file a police report against his own mother. These are the things that we need to know as a people. We got kids and we think it's cute to get a light bill in their name, but how does this affect them in the future when they go to get a car, when they go to get a job? So it's not just the kids. We got grown-ups, and to take out time like tomorrow, as value as my time is, as value as Mac time is, to educate and try to let our people know what's going on with credit. Don't get to the dealership and call me and blow my phone up because you can't get approved. Or just like the other day, I was getting out of the what you call it? the parking garage. It don't accept cash, credit card, debit card, and it's going to get to the point where it's only a credit card. They got rid of cash first, the debit card to go next because right now you can't rent a car without a credit card. They're no longer accepting your debit card. They don't care if you got $50,000 in that account attached to that debit card. You still have to have a major credit card. And so I'd say this when we're having things like this, like Nightcap Knowledge, we have things like tomorrow where we're educating people, everybody, not just the 18-year-old get ready to go to college, but the 50-year-old who messes up their 18-year-old kid's credit needs to be sitting there learning something because the world is going to continue to evolve when it comes to credit. In Texas, most of your fast food restaurants, you don't walk up to the counter. There's no one at the counter. You walk up to the little machine, you tap it in, you put your credit card in there. And then someone will bring your food out to you, or your food comes, but no one is there. That means that cash is not going to work. When you go to a football game, guess what they want? A credit card. How crazy do you look at an NBA game and you got cash? I got cash money. It don't matter. You can't get nachos, you can't get a beer, and you can't park. So, Mac, I will say this: the parent needs to bring their child because a lot of the parents have been educated wrong. A high percentage for the few percent. Mac had an issue, right? And the people at the bank told Mac that he was of the 1%. Why? Because Mac has educated himself. But I'm steady telling Mac they're wrong. They're wrong. And the more I told Mac they're wrong, he kept pushing the issue. They're wrong. He pushed the issue. They're wrong. He pushed. Finally, he got someone so high in corporate when they researched what Mac was saying. Wow, man, you're the 1%. I said, Mac, if you're the 1%, I'm of the 0.005%. And I say that because we need this in our communities. If you're getting this information that will help your 18-year-old go to college so they don't make the mistakes, because right now, when they go to college, it's not like when we went. If we messed our credit up, we could still get a good paying job. That's not the way of the future. 2025 is not going to be like that. You're going to go out here and get this master's degree. And as soon as they pull your background, which we thinking is criminal, but background is actually your full credit report, your criminal, your medical history, the tickets, your all that stuff is included in background. Trust me, and I can prove it. When they pull that and they see that you have a $250 bill that you won't pay, but you're asking for a job from their company for $250,000 and you're wondering why you don't get hired, that's why. Because what responsible person, irresponsible, you have to be irresponsible. And so when you say, well, look, I graduated, magna cum laude and blah, 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 and da, 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 and I'm a part of this organization. And they say in court, the reason why you get hired, because we didn't want you to be over our finance department when you wouldn't even pay a $250 medical bill. When we didn't hire you because you just recently had some medical issues. And for us to spend $50,000 on training you and you were just recently diagnosed with this, we didn't feel like that was a smart move for our company. And these are things that we're not taught. And all this is connected to your credit report. And people don't realize that. They don't realize that when they're going to get a position with a company, those tickets that we laughed about in college, I laughed. When I married my husband, I had 7 tickets. I thought it was funny. Oh, I got 7 tickets. Until I got pulled over and he said my license was suspended. And I had clients in the vehicle and he was about to lock me up. Wasn't funny anymore. But now it's not even funny because guess what? That could cause me not to get a position with a company. Because who is going to hire me with all these degrees, with all this education, and Jeff Bezos is their customer, and I have a horrible driving record, and I'm going to be in the parking garage with him? Who's going to hire me? I'll wait for an answer. No one. You wouldn't dare hire me because if I mess around and hit him and they pull my driving record and they see where I got 7 tickets and my license suspended, that company is liable. So all of these things go into your credit. I'll let you speak, Mike. I'll let you speak, Mac.
No, you just connecting the dots, like you said, as they move into the future, what they'll be paying attention to and understanding that they have bureaus that hold all this information, um, and knowing that you know you have a bigger challenge ahead of when you're talking about going into different environments for work, social environments, different things of that nature. You're gonna have to be prepared for what's going on in the future, and having your credit card. And the credit card just is a part of the just one part of this thing that we're talking about. Um, one thing that hurt a lot of us is student loans. We end up getting student loans to go to school, and that's the difference between us and some of our counterparts because student loans can't be wiped out, like that unless it be done by the government. Um, but the financial literacy part that we're trying to help folks understand is making those decisions. Say, for instance, if you need a little more money to cover something for school, but we've been taught and trained to go strictly through student loans. Tell them the benefits or advantages of maybe getting a private loan when it comes to something like this.
Well, I don't want to say that on recording.
Don't say it then. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I won't say that on recording. That was something if you come tomorrow,
Yeah.
I will talk about. But I will tell you this for the people who have went to these credit repair companies, every person on this line needs to type in the words CAIVRS. That's Cavers. So what happens, what Mac was just talking about, and I'll take it a step further. He said you can't get rid of these student loans out of the system. So when you go to these credit repair people and they wipe off those student loans, you're still in the Caver system. Those student loans are there. So if you ever went to get a mortgage or anything like that, when they pull Cavers, it's going to show up. That's the reason why you hear people say, well, my credit score is 785. I did everything I was supposed to do. Right for a closing, I got turned down. The reason why you got turned down is because right before you buy a house, they're going to pull your Cavers report and they're going to see where you owe those student loans.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we talked about the credit. We talked about credit cards. One of the things we're going to touch bases on now. What a lot of folks might not know that you've been a licensed real estate agent for how many years?
23.
Oh, people always talk about investing in houses as a good investment. Flipping houses. Connect the dots with that. What would you say to someone that's looking at getting into that right now and looking for a return?
Okay. Always go to the source. Do not buy from a person that's selling you these properties at a quote unquote good price. Stop it. They're selling you their headaches. Let me give you an example. Mac goes to the source to buy a property, right? Mac buys this property for 35,000. The property will probably appraise for 112, but Mac gets it for 35. I tell you what, Mac, are you on your computer? Mac, you got your computer in front of you? No, okay. There's a property right now. I will use example. If you go to HUD Home Store, www.hudhomestore is where the federal government has their foreclosures. If you go to that website, right off of Cooper Road in South Jackson on Oakview, there's a foreclosure for $35,000. If you go and look, that property will easily appraise for 112. Let me explain to you why I'm explaining this. So Mac buys it for 35,000, right? But Mac turns around and he sells it to John for 55,000. Mac makes $15,000 quick, fast, in a hurry. John looks at it. Well, you know what? I bought it for 50, but it'll appraise at 112. So John sells it to Sam, and he walks away with 15. So now there's $65,000, right? But by the time that John gets it, he's gonna have to put $20,000 in this property. So now we at 85,000. It's going to cost him 10,000 to sell with real estate commissions and everything else, right? So well we at $95,000. But he's also got to pay the taxes and insurance during the time that he had the property. So by the time that John gets it, John only walks away with maybe $15,000. If John would have went straight to the source HUD Home Store, bought it for 35,000, put the same 15,000 in it, fix it up, put another 10 in it, sold or whatever, and got it up to $60,000, right? With commissions, repairs, and everything. 60 minus 112. So he'd have walked away with $50,000, 50,000. But because he allowed all those hands on it, he's not going to walk. He's got the headache. He's going to have to deal with paying the insurance. He's going to have to deal with people stealing his air conditioning unit. He's going to have to deal with the high taxes. He's going to have to deal with all the tree that fell in right before he got. He's going to have to deal with all that. Only thing Mac did was bought it straight from HUD Home Store, paid 35 for it. Stop being those people in the middle. If you're going to buy it straight from the source. And what happens is they unload what they don't want on us. Yeah, man. This house right here appraised 112. It appraised out of 112. First of all, that person is not an appraiser. Don't let anyone that's not an appraiser tell you what a home value is. So that's mistake number one. And we do it all the time. Man, I know that house right there is worth this. You don't know because you're not an appraiser. You will never hear me as a real estate agent quote what a price of a home is because I'm not an appraiser. And any agent that does that puts themselves in liability. Okay, that's the first thing. So what you do is you buy from the source. If you want to buy and start flipping properties, get it straight from the banks. No hands. Don't let somebody buy it from the bank and then turn around and sell it to you and walk away with a quick profit. Think about it. If that's the case, Matt could go buy a house tomorrow for 35, sell it to me tomorrow, the same day for 50, walk away with $15,000. He didn't have to put insurance on it. He didn't have to put taxes on it. He didn't have to deal with somebody stealing the AC unit. He just walked away with 15,000. And that's what they do. And they do it all the time to us. Man, this is a good deal. This is a good deal. If it's such a great deal, don't you think they would keep it? I ain't gonna make no money off. He just made $15,000 in one day. I have bought properties, and this is not coming from somebody who talks about it. I have bought properties and sold them the same day. It's called a simultaneous closing.
I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much money you have in your account. If you can make $15,000 in one day profit, that's a lot of money.
But
People
that's what
believe,
they do to us.
yeah.
That's what they do to us, and we're the people that get suckered in. They go straight to the source. So to answer your question, go straight to the source.
So speaking of homes, right? And they talk about one of your largest investment is going to be your home. And I hear you see these different commercials talk about if you need money, about going and get the equity out your house. For those who might not understand that totally, what does that mean? If you talking about how does that work? If you talking about, yeah, you know what, I want to go get this, I want to go start a business, I want to whatever. How am I gonna get the equity out of my house?
hmm Okay. So what that is let's say, for example, I sold you a house for $50,000 20 years ago, right? Now that house is worth 200,000. But 20 years later, you only owe $10,000 on that home because you've been paying on the last 20 years, right? So if you say, well, you know what? I want to get $80,000. I want to take 50, open this business, take 30, and just kind of put this on the side, just to have some money to enjoy myself with. You're going to take that loan back up to 80 plus 10, which is going to be $90,000. You're still going to have the first mortgage for 10,000. So if you're paying 550 a month, you're going to continue to make that 550 a month payment. But you're going to have another payment now for that second mortgage, which is 80,000, right? So but now instead of you just owing 10, now you owe a total of $90,000, right? The problem with a second mortgage is you don't get a free and clear title. To me, it's almost like when your mom would go to them little furniture stores and she would just about have that wash machine paid off, and then she go get a dryer instead of just getting the wash machine totally paid off. I always suggest go ahead and getting A all the way paid off, and then because you can really get into a lot of trouble with that money just sitting there because that 80,000 is gone, but now you have a payment all over again and you don't have a paid off home. And people do it every day. And I've known people to just do it and they'll leave the money sitting there. They'll get it and put it in the IUL. They'll get it and leave it sitting in a bank account. They'll never touch it. Every single person is different, but that's how it works. It's just now that your home is worth more, you can pull some of that money out of it. And I've seen people pull the money out and let it foreclose. Like they only owe 10 on a house that's worth 200,000. They may pull $150,000 out and move into a RV and live their best life and let it foreclose. Every single person different. I don't suggest that because you're only $10,000 away from having to pay for a home. But it could have issues with the foundation. It could have issues with mold. There's a lot of reasons why people walk away from homes. Typically, those people don't look like us, but others do. And if they got to spend, now with the insurance companies, I don't know if y'all know this, but now with the insurance companies, they are not replacing these roofs that's over 5 years old. Everybody on this line needs to call their insurance provider and find out about their roof because these insurance companies now, if that roof is over 5 years old, they're not replacing them anymore. So if you have a storm, you're gonna be replacing that roof. Did you know that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you need to call your insurance provider and say, hey, I've heard y'all there's been a lot of changes in the insurance industry, and I want to make sure that my policy covers my roof. My roof is over 8 years old. Will it be covered if anything happens? And those are the questions that we don't know to ask. And
And I'm just thinking about when you say that, like, as we do work around environmental justice and climate justice, meaning that now we are having droughts for triple digits for months. We're having storms back to back, floods. So you're thinking about this like your roof is over 5 years old, and what your roof will cost today, and to pay out of pocket. But also it goes back to what we talked about just then. This might be an incident, a situation where you need to pull some equity out of your home to fix the roof,
hmm
because
yeah,
now
this would be an incident. Yeah.
because you're gonna all go, it's gonna go back up. So it's like,
hmm
this is one of those things that you add in and say, yeah, you pull $10,000 out of your home to put a new roof on there, but now you can say I got a brand new roof, which
hmm
kind of puts right back into it if you decide to get rid of it because it went right
Yeah,
back into the home. Or,
exactly.
this
But
might be
mostly
art.
when people they get the equity mac, they don't do any repairs. They got $80,000 and they ball. They do. They ball out of control. They be like, Shh, I got 80 bands in the account. I'm gonna go sit courtside on these jokers. I'm gonna buy a couple of pig pies, put some meat on the grill, give me them new J's that drop, and not realizing that your mortgage is at 2.875. Well, this home equity line may be at 8.75.
Yeah, higher interest rate.
Yeah,
What's the window on like a traditional, like say for instance, if your mortgage is traditionally a 30-year mortgage or a 25, and you say I'm gonna pull out $80,000 out of my house that's worth 225, what how long do you usually have to pay that back?
every single bank has is you may have
It's
10
different.
years, you may have 20. I mean, you may have 5. It depends on the terms that they set
Yeah.
forth and you agree to. Because I
Okay.
remember some people may want to pay, $2,000 a month. And the
Right.
other person may only want to pay 450 a month. They're not gonna
Yeah.
sign up for a 5-year HELOC. They're not gonna sign up for a 24-month HELOC. It's kind of
Mm.
like a car, Yeah, I may sign a deal like with my Mini Cooper. I only did 4 years, but when I bought that Hyundai, I did 5. Every single. No, actually, I did more than 5. I did 6. I did 6 on that Hyundai. Yeah, so it just depends. But they're out there. If you go to Navy Federal right now, Navy Federal is offering like 8.75%. Last time I checked, and that was last week on HELOCs. That's quite a bit of money. It's not going to seem that bad when they put that check in the account, but when you start
What's
making payments on it,
what's HELOCs?
HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. That's what a
Home
HELOC is.
line of credit.
Home, yep,
Home
that's what a
equity
HELOC
line of
is.
credit. So you mentioned one other thing that we talked about. One of the other second large investments uh, are vehicles, right? So we're talking about
hmm
vehicles. and that's what a lot of time people want. They're trying to make their purchase. Something happened to their car, or they get in whatever happens, and they it wouldn't be a process what they've been probably preparing for the last couple of years. It's like they need it right now. That's why they end up calling you. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get that thing you were talking about. I'm trying to be able to go in here and get this car. What were you talking about? What were you saying? Like, what advice right now as we go into the summer in June when it comes to these cars? What are some things that we need to know about purchasing a
Rebates.
vehicle? Okay.
Y'all, these dealerships have rebates. And so when they sell us this used vehicle, you can't get rebates on a used vehicle. And so what happens is we don't understand the interest rates. We don't understand the rebates. So we go out and buy a $15,000 vehicle, but we pay the same note as a person bought a $25,000 vehicle brand new. We pay the exact same note. And I've seen in that circumstance on $15,000 vehicle, we pay over the price of the 25. The person with the brand new 25 payment is still $100 cheaper, and their vehicle is $10,000 more. We got to stop buying someone else's headache. That's our biggest mistake is they've educated us and we say some of the silliest, stupidest stuff because a white man has said, well, I'm gonna get it when the bugs get out of it. What? The bugs get out of it. So I'm supposed to let this white man drive it around brand new, and if something goes wrong, he can take it back to the dealership and get it fixed with no money. But I'm gonna drive it by his headache because it's low miles, good tires on it. And now every time something go wrong, I gotta pay to get it fixed. Oh, wait a minute. He's gonna sell me a warranty for $5,000. That's crazy. That is at today I had a client and he paid $7,000 to buy a 2021. And when I was like, why? And when I figured up his payment, I was like, you realize you could have bought it brand new. And when I showed him that today, he was just blown. He was like, what? I was like, and I told him, I swear to God, y'all, he was sitting there and I told him the name of the company to finance. I said, your vehicle's financed for credit acceptance. Never met this man a day. And he was like, yeah. And the woman he was with was like, how did you know that? Because credit acceptance, all of those are high interest rate companies, and those car dealerships make a ton of money off of them. So they're going to get you fine. Even if you have the best scenario, they're still going to take you through them because they can make more money. Why would a bank give you a 0% interest loan? They can't make any money off of it, or they can make money off of the car, but they give it to other people. When Mac bought his vehicle, tell them the story, Mac.
Oh, we have a couple stories, but when it comes to vehicles, it just so I guess what story we're talking about, like right after we had been through the workshops and doing the work to get our credit where it needed to be. It was probably the smoothest process. Went in, signed paperwork, spent about 10 minutes, maybe 15 by the time they got the keys, and we were out with an interest rate about 3%. That kind of set us up for, kind of spoil you a little bit. You get to see, as we say, how the other side lives, and it is just being knowing your numbers. They said numbers don't lie, so you know the numbers of what you need, what your formula, and that's what and that's something that Michelle teach y'all tomorrow, whoever shows about the credit score pie, because that's something that's very very important when it comes to making these purchases. Everything from home all the way to your vehicle, to your credit cards, to your student loans. It's hard to get around this credit. It's hard to get around having credit worthiness. When you want this contract, but they're gonna pay you $300,000, and you're gonna manage a budget of $2 million, and your credit shows you that you owe over and over again, or some you can't pay small amount of bills, then they say, well, no, I can't have him over this, and then you don't get the position, not because you're not qualified, because of your credit history and credit worthiness, what it looks like. Um, and then, I don't know, I can't see the comments. I was going to ask, was anybody had any questions, or anybody wanted to share any type of comments or uh, any type of situation that's similar testimonials, anything like that, give us, drop a message, put something out there, let us see it. And if Chuck is, around, he can pull it up and let us see it. Um, but so Michelle, we covered everything. I think that we're going to talk about taxes. That's the other thing we missed out. We talked about taxes and tax refund, taxes. What advice would you give? Same thing we talked about credit when it comes to taxes with the laws constantly changing.
Well, just like this year was different from any other tax season. Normally during tax season, you see everybody buying clothes and you see a bunch of cars on the side of the road that last 2 weeks, some of them a week. This year, because everyone is struggling so bad, even the food stamp chick ain't selling. So when I'm talking about taxes this year, it's just people are taking their refunds and actually being way more responsible. The racks aren't emptying like they used to. The lines at, Chili's and all those, people aren't doing it. And even when they got their refunds, they're like, look, I got to catch up on my bills. There's a lot of things that's changing. A lot of the deductions, a lot of the allowances changed this year. So people weren't getting the 12 and $13,000 refunds like they have been in the years prior. And with that being said, because you went from 12,000 last year to 8,500 this year, that was a huge difference. Plus, in 2022, you could buy a bag of chips for $2. Now that same bag is like $6. So a lot of things have changed with the taxes, and I think a lot of people this year just they were more responsible this year. I'll say. I noticed that. What about you, Mac? Did you notice people out just blurging and splurging and balling this year?
Well, I know there was a lot of question about taxes. More people talking about not getting back. Usually folks are putting out there about the amount they get back. With the different laws changing, go back to what we said before. A lot of things are favoring business owners. A lot of things are favoring having certain things in place, um, and so we definitely advocate and encourage folks to try to find out what those things were. Make sure
Well,
that you
open a
try to
bit.
learn as much
Everybody on
possible.
this line needs to have a business.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
if it's just making snow cones,
Right.
selling chips, candy, whatever you want to do. If you do something on the side, open a business.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. Don't let people feel like it's some kind of big, huge thing. You're going to go to the Secretary of State. You're going to come up with a name. You're going to go to the Secretary of State's website. You're going to see if someone else has that name. All you do is just click on Secretary of State of Mississippi business entity and type in whatever that name is you want to be. If you want to be Schmojo's Smoke Shop, you're going to type that name in. If you see that no one else has it, cool. You're going to go to the IRS website, type in the search bar EIN. It's going to say apply for EIN. You're going to type in your name, address, information. You're going to type in the information of what type of business it is. You're going to type in your social security number. It's going to give you an EIN. You're going to have a business at that point. Take that paper, go back to the Secretary of State. Do the same process with the Secretary of State. Spend $50. Well, $50.10 if you do it online. Take that information to Citizens National Bank. Open you a business account. Guess what? You have a business now. When someone pays you to make those t-shirts, put it in your business account. When someone pays you to make the mask, put the money in your business account. Guess what happens now? Your business account is generating income. It looks like there is a cash flow. So now when you go to get a business loan, you have a business set structure with a business account that you are putting money in. So it looks like it's cash flowing, meaning there's something going in it. So now when you go to ask for something, it makes sense. You can't go and say, well, I wash cars on the side. Can I get $100,000? Huh? Well, let me see your paperwork from the IRS. Oh, what's that? Let me see if you registered the Secretary of State. Huh? Well, do you have a business account? Huh? No, it's very simple. You need to build business credit. And business credit is not easy. It is time consuming, but it's very rewarding. You can build business credit. I do all that. I set up businesses, I set up the actual business accounts, and I order stuff for your net 30 accounts. But I'm $175 an hour. I don't bend on my price. If you call me to talk to me for 5 minutes, that's $50. I will not answer a question. I will not respond to your text. I will not respond to your email. I will not do anything until I get paid. But the end result is you will have money when you go to get some. Very simple. I'll let you talk more.
And see, that's a whole other conversation is helping folks understand like the business credit and how it's separate from your personal credit and different with a different EIN. So listen, y'all come out tomorrow, our financial literacy workshop. It's going to be at Hemp World South and Therapeutic Lounge. It's going to miss, and that is 4270 Robinson Road, Jackson, Mississippi, 39209 across the street from Piccadilly's. We are doing this if you got a college grad, or someone on the way to college, fresh out of high school, even it might be you, another adult. If you need someone to be properly informed and educated on what they need to do when it comes to training, when it comes to training your credit, because you got to train your credit. You got to get your credit in shape. You got to know what the minimum you need for whatever you're trying to get. You got to learn the tricks about the cards, meaning that, again, an example, if your credit card, um, we'll say that you have a $10,000 limit. So half of $10,000 is five. So you want to keep it below 20% of the card. So 20% you're looking at, you want to keep it below 2,000. Well, people say, well, you got to keep it below 30 and 25. No, don't ever shoot for the minimum. Don't shoot for the minimum. That just get you scraping by. Go ahead and say, I'm gonna keep my in my mind, even though I got this limit on this card, I'm not going above $2,000 on this card. I'm not gonna go above, whatever it may be, because you can easily go above it, and then when it starts to report, your interest changes, but also it changes your opportunity to increase your credit line. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, and if you say the minimum what you need is to hey keep it below 2,500, but you internally make a practice of keeping it below 2,000, then it's going to look like I don't need money, and they're giving you the money, and then that easily they will increase your credit line because you have shown good practice. So I said you got to whip your credit into shape. You got to train your credit. You got to make it do what you need it to do for you as long as you can. You got to do that. Anything else
And
you
I'll,
want to
I'll
share,
add this.
Michelle?
Yeah, I'll add
Go ahead.
this on that, Matt. A lot of people don't understand that if they give you a $500 limit credit card, that credit card is actually there to design to ruin your credit because it's so much easier to owe 500 on a 10,000 and you look responsible. But if you owe 500 on a 500, you look irresponsible. So they constantly in our communities give us these 250 and $400 limit credit cards with no knowledge. But now we go to the bank to get something. If they do approve us, which they will, you're at 28.99% interest. So because we just hear the words approve, we just, man, I got to approve with the bank for $4,000. But the person behind you just got a loan for 25,000, and you up here, and his interest rate is 0%, and you're paying 28.99. Y'all paying the same loan payment because they gave you 4,000, but you're gonna end up paying back 16,000. They gave him 20,000. He gonna end up paying back 20,000. In the words of Fred Sanford, come to the class. We will help you because I don't want to say it, but you know what he always said to Lamont? What do they give you at the bank? They give you a dumb dumb sucker. And
Man,
I
man.
am finished. I can't wait to see and meet everyone tomorrow. We
Yep.
start at 7 o'clock on
Seven
time.
o'clock.
Um, there's going to be a lot of information I'm going to provide. So I look forward to meeting and seeing everyone tomorrow at 7 o'clock at Hemp World South on what's the address, Mac?
It's 4270 Robinson Road. And if you come on out, definitely come check it out. If you have any questions, if you're trying to figure out where the place is, look directly across the street from Piccadilly, right next to Furniture City. But this is information that you definitely need. And if you have information, that you know a lot more about, then hey, you might be the person to come and share with everybody else. That's part of the issue that, we're not talking about just creating stuff just to say, hey, I know this. But if people are in their mindset and they are already trying to, seek knowledge so they can be properly prepared, and if you have the knowledge on some of the topics we talked about, then come by. Let's network. Let's work together. Let's do what we can to help take care of each other. So I think this pretty much wrapping us up. We got 1 minute left. I don't know where DJ George Chuck is. He might still be back there in ghost riding, back there behind the scenes. But we are at our 10 o'clock mark. Appreciate it, Michelle. Come check us out tomorrow. Anybody have any questions, you know how to reach out to us. You can hit us up on Nightcap Knowledge. Let us know if you got anything that you need covered. If you want to put a dream team together and you want us to come and speak to your groups, reach out to us. Let us know. But we're going to be working hard, as we always state on a Tuesday night. We're trying to get to where the money resides. So Michelle is going to help you get to where the money resides tomorrow. So make sure you come check us out. Other than that, we say peace and good night.
Wait. What a money reside, 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 I know that's right. What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside.